So I learned to cook from meal kits, and I have tried every meal kit out there. And my favorite is absolutely Martha Stewart's Marley Spoon. It's my favorite because they deliver high quality, seasonal ingredients with tons of different recipe options every week. So you get variety, flexibility, and seriously good food. So whether you want a one-pan, one-step meal or a chef-recommended dish with unique ingredients, Marley Spoon has you covered. Or if you're a picky eater, they also have like kid-friendly meals. Or, if you have kids. Either way, here's the best part. I've got a deal for you. Use promo code Megan25 to get up to $250 off your first 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box. So go to marleyspoon.com, order your boxes, put in promo code Megan25, and try it out. You will thank me.
Hello, welcome to Tequila Bottle Podcast. Eddie Zamora, aka the Yum Yum Foodie, and this is a bonus episode. This is like an epic bonus episode. Megan, my co-host, is not here, and in this particular case, it's perfect because she would attack all the tequila. But who I have here with me is a gentleman who I saw play last night on the stage here at Bottlerock. It was an epic show. I want to welcome to Tequila Bottle Podcast, Alex El Animal Gonzalez.
Hermano, mucho gusto.
Bienvenidos.
Man.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, gracias.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm better now. You have no idea. I was listening to you guys last night, and it felt like I was back in Miami in my formidable, amazing years, and I discovered Latin rock. Awesome. It was really the first time that I ever discovered Latin rock.
Awesome.
So it was really fun. It
was a great concert yesterday afternoon. Yeah. It was amazing. The sunset. The crowd was just amazing, and we're super honored to have been here in Napa Valley at Bottlerock.
So I have to ask you, because I'm a Cuban from Miami.
Yes.
And I found out that you are a Cuban Colombian from Miami.
Yes, sir.
So how does a Cuban Colombian from Miami end up in Guadalajara, Mexico? Yes.
Well, make a long story short, unfortunately, my mom and dad got divorced. My mom got remarried, so I ended up in Mexico. Then I went to audition for a band before Maná called Sombrero Verde. I got the gig when I was 15, and I moved from Mexico City to Guadalajara, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. So what, do we say patacones or tostones? Tostones,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I'm old school,
okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Palmasoriano Oriente, Santiago de Oriente.
Santiago de Oriente.
Yeah.
Wow. So how does just your Latino background influence your drumming style?
Well, that's a good question because, being born and raised in Miami, there was always music at the house.
Yeah.
But you would always listen to more salsa, more merengue. My dad would also put classical music, but there was also a lot of rock and roll. So I was able to listen to that, all styles of music, all those types of different music, and that really helped me as a drummer. So, I have that Latin side of me, that, Maná is a pop rock band that does fusion of Latin music, Caribbean music, reggae. Yeah. So that really helps a lot to have that school. You have,
absolutely.
The rock and roll school, you have the pop school, and then you have the Latin, the Caribbean school. So thank God, it's part of my culture.
It really isn't. I mean, it comes off in your style of play because, I'm listening to you and I'm like, all right, there's Neil Peart. Yeah. But then there's some Latino. I hear a little Tito. I hear those vibes that come through.
I am a huge fan of Tito Puente. God bless his soul. And growing up in that environment, I think I was very lucky, to have such a great musical background, listening to all music that are part of my culture, that Cuban, Colombian. But then the great thing is, you got all the American and European rock and roll, but then what happens when I go to Mexico, you discover this whole other culture in music.
100%.
So it's been incredible for me to learn, and the great thing about Latin America is that it's such a, it's so rich in culture and music. So
when rich in culture, rich in food. I just saw you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about food. Yeah, of course.
Sanchez, of course. It's Kill the Bottle Podcast, but I'm also the Yum Yum Foodie. So
I
love food. I love to cocinar. Thank you, Chef Jose Andres, for his camber work. I appreciate it.
And we got a backup here.
We got a backup camera.
Yes.
So you were ahead of the curve before a lot of these folks had so many. Feels like everybody now has a tequila brand. You 8 years ago had the foresight to launch your tequila brand.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, rock and roll and alcohol has always been like a perfect marriage. You know, I remember when I was a kid.
Don't say that to Tommy Lee.
No. I wanted to drink Jack Daniels because I saw Jimmy Page and Keith Richards always on stage.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting to be old enough to be able to drink Jack Daniels and Coke.
That was me watching Slash.
Yeah, but every generation, comes across. So alcohol and rock and roll has always been like a perfect marriage. So growing up, when I moved to Guadalajara, I started drinking tequila when I was 15. So I've always been involved in going to restaurants and bars, and those are the places that normally we hang out after a show. So, that whole culture of clubs, restaurants, bars, so you get that opportunity to taste so many different spirits and beverages and stuff. But I've always been a fan of tequila. So around 2014, I had 2 restaurants before. I had one in Puerto Vallarta, and I had one in New York. The first one I opened it up at the end of 1999.
Wow.
And the second one in New York, I opened it up in 2008.
Okay.
I enjoyed that experience very much, but I always noticed at the end when we were doing the bills that we were making more money always was in alcohol.
Always, yeah.
So I always said after finishing the restaurant business, which was a great thing, a great experience, and I enjoyed it very much, I said, I want to do my own, alcohol.
Yeah.
So I have friends that are musicians that have their own tequilas or maybe their whiskeys or wines. So I said, you know what? Growing up where tequila's made and having that palette and that background, I said, I think I can do something very unique, very special. I'm not here to compete with none of the major brands. I'm here to add. I'm here to be part of the club, and I'm just doing it my way. It's a high-end tequila. I started it 8 years ago. It's not a celebrity tequila. I don't want to be associated with that. I'm a musician, but it's old school, no additives, no artificial colors, flavors. It's kosher. So, old school tequila, like I grew up when I was a kid in Guadalajara.
Well, I think it's super important now because people are so onto it now. If you have a lot of additives and anything, people know. People look it up. People.
And another thing that people don't know is that you're supposed to sip tequila. You don't do shots.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
You're supposed to sip.
And then, the Blanco is the main distinction of how good the distillation is. That is the Blanco is kind of what's key in the tequila. And I have to try it before I leave. So I will.
Definitely. We'll get you a glass right now before you leave.
I do have to try it. And before I let you go, I want to, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here for Kill a Bottle. I got to ask you, if you could trade places with one musician for one day, any place in time, who would it be?
Wow, can I say 3?
Absolutely.
One would be the Beatles.
Okay. So you want to trade with Ringo and drum for the Beatles?
Incredible,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The other one would be the Police.
Oh my God, Stuart Copeland. Yeah,
Stuart
get out of here,
Copeland.
Stuart. Uh-huh.
And there's so many bands, but another band that I love dearly is U2.
Me too.
So those 3. There's so many that I'm leaving out. Neil Peart, he's one of my favorite drummers. Rush. Phil Collins, Alex Van Halen, John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. I could go on and on. Charlie Watts, the Stones. One is impossible.
Good. That was the right answer. Thank you. Alex, the only thing we don't get back in life is time.
Yes.
And I want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for spending some of your precious time with me and with the audience at Kill a Bottle Podcast.
Anytime, it's my pleasure.
The brand is called Mala Vida.
Yes.
So please check out Alex's Tequila. You can also follow him online at Alex Gonzalez El Animal.
Yes.
Is El Animal a reference to
the Muppets? No. Alex, I grew up with the Muppets in Sesame Street, but the thing is that I always do a solo when we're on tour. So when I was young, when I was like, say, 16, 17, 18, he said, man, Alex is like an animal en la batería, like destroying the drums, So, but it's a very cool nickname. And also you can follow my Tequila Mala Vida. Okay, by the way, the translation of Mala Vida, if you translate it in English, it's the bad life. But actually in Mexico, it means the good life. When things are going good or you're having excess, they say, oye, qué mala vida te está dando, eh? So it's a really cool Mexican, slang. And you can also find Mala Vida in Instagram, Tequila Mala Vida. So thank you for the interview and check it out. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Hey, Chef, so people will believe that you actually did the camera work. Will you get on here, Chef?
El maestro.
Thank you,
Jose.
Thank you, Jose, for being my cameraman today. I'm sorry. Are you Actors Equity? Are you a Teamster? Okay. All right. I'll send them the check.
All right.
Guys, cheers.
Salud.
Gracias.
Qué increíble, brother.
I don't want to say, you're going to say